Afternoon, viewers. Good afternoon. Welcome to another AgChem Live, where we look at products and ways to improve your agricultural practices. My name is Dale Smith, Product Development Agronomist region. This includes the parishes of Trelawney, St. James, and Hanover. Today we'll be looking at fertilizer, more so ELIXIR Zorka, our brand fertilizer. We'll be looking at what's in the bag of the ELIXIR Zorka, the quality of the product. We'll be looking at the composition of the fertilizer, what is really in the bag so that you, the farmer, can appreciate the product. We'll be looking at the benefits of the fertilizer, questions you often ask, what happens after you apply the fertilizer, and why should you use this fertilizer. We'll also have farmer testimonials and show some of the fieldwork that we've done throughout the island. So let's get into it. The ELIXIR Zorka brand. We carry two types of fertilizer under this brand. The Amasulfan, which is our sulfate of ammonia, and the 15-15-15, which we'll be speaking about today. It's a high quality compound mineral fertilizer, and it has key features of spreadability, precise application, and it has a very low environmental impact. We know mineral fertilizers, we want our mineral fertilizers to be free of dust. This is a sign of the purity of the fertilizers. So the ELIXIR Zorka 15-15 is one such fertilizer that is free of dust and all other impurities. So we look carefully at that. In our ELIXIR Zorka bag, as I mentioned before, it is a 15-15-15 fertilizer. So 15 parts nitrogen, 15 phosphorus, 15 potassium, and it also includes an additional 11% sulfur. So all these elements or nutrients are included in each granule that you'll find in this compound fertilizer. You'll realize that I've mentioned the word compound, and we interchange it with complex fertilizers because this fertilizer is very different from our traditional fertilizers that we are used to. We're used to fertilizers where we are seeing 3 different nutrients in the hand. But in a compound fertilizer such as this 15-15, we have all the nutrients plus the sulfur contained in each granule of that fertilizer. So again, each granule of the fertilizer contains all 3 nutrients. And it has a very high solubility as well, which makes it easy for the plants to absorb the nutrients as soon as they come in contact with soil moisture. Things to note, we've mentioned the solubility of the NPK nutrients, which is a very important factor when one considers the use of a granular fertilizer. And there are various forms in which the nutrients are presented. In the nitrogen form in this fertilizer is an ammonical nitrogen, and that is readily available to the plants as well. The phosphorus is in the form of phosphorus oxide, which is very soluble in water. And the potassium is in the form of potassium oxide, which is also very soluble in water. Now, you might ask, why does a fertilizer need to have such high solubility? And I'll answer. The quicker the fertilizer is able to produce those nutrients in an available form to the plant roots, the quicker the plants will be able to utilize or assimilate those nutrients. And natural processes like nitrification, which takes place in the soil, will also be made easier. Benefits of using our 15-15, as mentioned again, is a compound fertilizer. So the nutrients are also held in a very stable but readily soluble form. And it speeds up organic matter. Because the nutrients are broken down very easily, bacteria found in the soil are able to convert those nutrients very quickly and make them available to the plants. It also has a wide application range over a wide range of our vegetable crops and fruit tree crops as well. And on this slide, I'm just trying to bring forward the whole concept of a compound fertilizer. On the left, you'll see the ELIXIR brand and the NPK showing that all three nutrients are found in each granule, as opposed to the regular fertilizer where the nutrients are separate. And you can appreciate the quality of such a compound fertilizer because an application method doesn't really affect, the type of application method doesn't really affect how the nutrients are dispersed to the plants. As shown in the slide here, you may scatter, broadcast, or lay the fertilizer, and the plant's roots itself are unable to pick up the nutrients because they have been scattered far away from the root zone. In the ELIXIR brand, you'll find that very difficult because each nutrient is found, all the nutrients are found in each granule. For granular application, we tend to apply the fertilizer homogeneously, meaning we spread it out evenly over the soil and then we incorporate that in the soil. So apart from this being a high quality fertilizer, we also have to pay attention to how we incorporate the fertilizer in the soil. It being a compound fertilizer will make it that much easier for you, the farmer, to get an even or homogeneous spread over the soil zone. We also have how to apply. We'd want to apply it shortly before sowing. That means just before you plant the crop, vegetable crops more so, you'd want to have that incorporated in the soil. And as soon as the seedlings are placed, they can start to pick up the nutrients immediately. For tree crops, we'd want to apply it maybe a month in advance, just before sprouting. And this holds true also for fruiting crops like hot peppers, tomatoes, and pineapples. We'd want to apply this fertilizer just before those plants come into production. So we wouldn't wait until we see fruits before we start apply. We'd apply on the onset of flowering and budding so the plants can utilize that to impact the size of the fruits and the quality of the fruits as well. On this slide, I'm just showing you the difference between the ELIXIR and the regular fertilizer. The quick uptake, which speaks to the solubility of the product. The very quick uptake, so as soon as the fertilizer comes in contact with soil moisture, the nutrients are made available and the plants are therefore able to take up that nutrient. So what you have is a rapid growth from day one. So that initial spurt or that initial jump in growth will be carried all the way through. And as farmers, you can appreciate having that 2-week window in which to reap a crop. Look at the rains we are having now. If a fertilizer can provide with a 2-week window to reap, that's a big plus. So the solubility of the ELIXIR 1515 speaks to this quick and rapid uptake of nutrients by the plants. As mentioned before, we said that the 1515 is an NPK package plus 11% sulfur. And you might ask, why add sulfur to the mix? But that's very important. Sulfur in itself, as you can see, impacts many different processes in the plants. Protein synthesis, need for photosynthesis as well. It affects the formation of the chlorophyll molecules and it aids in the fixation of nitrogen. Also helps to condition the soil somewhat, reduces the sodium in the soil. So therefore it reduces the pH, so it acidifies the soil, which is a very good thing in terms of uptake of certain minerals. We don't want the soil too acidic, but the acidity can impact on how minerals are taken up by the plant. It also gives flavor to crops. We've noted we grow crops for flavor, crops like onion, mustard, and garlic. Those aromatic flavors are brought to the fore when sulfur is added in the mix. So it's a very important element that complements the nitrogen in the 1515 package. On this slide, I'm showing you the different application rates for the fertilizers. Again, just to show you the wide range or wide use of this fertilizer. So we're looking at vegetables, potatoes, cabbage, carrots, fruit, grapevine. When I mention fruit, we're speaking about fruit tree and orchard crop like citrus, one such main crop. Again, we can use it on hot peppers, tomatoes as well, a very wide use. We'll go to a video clip and show what a farmer in Granular region has experienced by using the 1515 ELIXIR.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to this another series of CHEM Plant Live. We are here today in Rowtown, where we are speaking to Tyrone Anderson, one of our farmers in this region. He grows lettuce, cabbage, pak choy, you name it. Welcome, Sir Anderson.
Hello, welcome, afternoon.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me here. You would have experienced firsthand the results of the ELIXIR 1515 fertilizer. Give us your feedback in terms of the results you saw and the quality of harvest that you had.
I saw real good results using this 1515 fertilizer, because in first application I was testing it with the other brands of fertilizer which I normally use.
Yes.
And I noticed very much growth development in the plants. They're much faster and they're more resistant to the weather because you have stronger bodies and you give them more strength in their system.
So when we did the application, we had a control plot and we also had a treated one. What was it that led you to say this is an excellent product and I need to use it further?
Yeah, when I notice I use it, I notice less residue. You don't leave any residue after you throw the fertilizer. With other brands, you see residue underneath the plant and the plant don't move as much. I noticed uniform growth development in the plant that was used on, because everything just started to come up one time.
Okay. How did that benefit you in terms of the final harvest?
Yeah, and if final harvest, again, I get to reap the whole plot.
The entire plot?
The entire plot. I don't get to reap some, and you have some that still at young stage, like they haven't been fertilized.
Well, there you have it, farmers. First-hand view of what would have occurred in terms of the uniformity. What did your end user, your market, what was their response in terms of your delivery?
Oh, the market loved the product because it was better quality.
Mm-hmm.
The plants are bigger, more strength, so you have less resistance and more shelf life and everything.
Excellent. So in addition to that, you would have looked again at the entire farming system. Would you go back to what you were doing before?
No, I'm not going back, because these plot was fertilized. Apart from the control plot, the 1515 plot was ready 2 weeks before the other plot. And as I said before, I get to reap everything.
So how is that an advantage? I mean, being ready 2 weeks ahead of time, what is the benefit there?
I can restart the plot again. Whereas I have the other plots where I reap some and we have some plants still in the field struggling, like they haven't been fertilized.
All right, so let me break it down for your viewers. His crop would have been harvested at 4 weeks. The competitor would have been harvested at 6 weeks, and you still had other plants in the field. After reaping. So you had one complete harvest where the 1515 was treated, and the remainder of the plot you had several stragglers, if you may say, inside there, still trying to come to maturity. So the benefit of the uniformity of the blend plus the added 11% sulfur gives the crop that robust growth that you're hearing speaking of, and the vigor that is maintained right throughout. What would you say, if any, to the viewing public, other farmers, in terms of this ELIXIR 1515 fertilizer?
Well, I know all farmers are in Jamaica, and we tend to not try new products, saying that we're going to stick to the old product, but I can implore other farmers now. What you can do is test it on a small plot, and I promise you won't be going back.
Excellent. There you have it. directly from the farmer's lips. We are live here. I notice your father and other persons are applying. What are they applying, sir?
ELIXIR 1515 fertilizer.
There
It's
you
ready
have
to
it.
go.
We say, let's grow. Thanks for having us. Join us once more.
So we're back. We just heard from a farmer who had positive experience using the 1515 fertilizer. And what can we say from there? The farmer is the test, the proof is in the eating of the pudding, right? So that farmer tried the fertilizer and it worked and he saw a significant improvement in his crop. We'll continue where we left off and show some field work that we've done also across the region. In this slide, as I mentioned, the 1515 has a very wide application in terms of the range of crops. So in this slide, we are seeing onions, and this field is just at 3 weeks. They were fertilized with the 1515, and we saw the strong, robust growth. If you can look at the close-up of the leaves, you are seeing no tip burns. Generally, onions coming up in this time show a little tip burn. And these onions weathered the bad weather we just have been experiencing. So this is not a 2-year ago picture. This is a very recent picture that was taken last week. On this slide also, this demo, by the way, backtrack a bit. This is the farm of Roy Faulkner as well. This is in Bracco Trelawney. Sorry about that. On this slide, this demo was also done in Bog Hole, Clarendon, by my counterpart, Mr. Parker. We are seeing here cabbage, and on the left you see the initial application, and 7 days after the treated plot, we notice the significant increase in the leaf span. To continue with that, 14 days after the heads have started to fold, we're speaking about 2 weeks now, farmers, after application, initial application. And you can see for yourself, the heads have started to fold while the control is still in the vegetative stage. That's giving a 2-week jump. And here we have the heads uniform developing, just to highlight what the farmer spoke about before, that uniform development, because again, of the high solubility of the fertilizer, the nutrient is passed out very quickly and the plants are able to take everything up evenly because of the compound nature as well. In this slide, this is ginger all the way up in St. James. Farmer Richard Stevens. This ginger just at the field is at 6 months. And again, this is a very recent picture. They went through the heavy rains and they are still green. No yellowing, no extensive leaf spot. The plants have held their own and continue to thrive. The farmer that spoke, this is giving you a visual also. So here we have the demo, the treated, fully reaped out, while the control, as he mentioned, was reaped 2 weeks after, and it was not a complete reap. You had lettuce in there still trying to battle for, I don't know which position that would be, but that would be way behind first, because the 1515 went through the line 2 weeks before. After doing the demo, like most good farmers, he adapted the program and went ahead and fertilized the entire field with the 1515. Once he saw the advantage of using the fertilizer, it was only prudent of him to follow suit and use the product. A close-up of the same field, lettuce growing, developing very strong. All right, to give you a breakdown more so of, because it's good when a product will work, it's also good, but it's also very important for farmers to know the dollar value, to put a dollar value. In these times where farmers are always plagued with the ever increasing production costs, it is only wise for farmers to find ways to improve on their returns. And fertilizer is one such input that the farmer has control over. So we're looking at now the production cost for the lettuce, and these are ballpark figures using our application rate, the lowest rate, 535. We get that using the 11 bags to an acre for the production of lettuce. That would run us $30,000 approximately, if we're going at $2,800 per bag. And traditionally, we plant the lettuce at 1 by 1, 1 foot by 1 foot. That will give us a planting distance roughly of 21,000 thereabout plants. And we know we're going to have mortality within that. So again, this is just to depict how we can get a quick. The average yield per head, 1.4 pounds, give or take. And that would make us, by our maths, you times the yield by the plant population, that would give us the pounds. So we get 30,492 pounds of lettuce. And at that time, the price was going for $70,000, which is way off the price it is going for now. $70, which is way off the price it's going for now. So imagine that. That's a total income of 2.134 million. So even if my maths is far off, it is very good income earning. And we're looking at the control. The control that Mr. Parker got from, the yield he got from the control was a pound. When we reaped a pound plus, they got a pound averaging, and that would bring their total income to $762,000. A far cry from the 2 point that we found on the treated block with the 1515. This was just to just highlight how you, the farmer, can control certain inputs or control the costs by monitoring inputs that you have control over. And as I mentioned before, fertilizer is one such input. Just to give a recap, we mentioned words like assimilate, compound, just to try to bring you closer to a closer understanding of what the product is about. When we say every granule contains the same nutrient as a ready source of nitrogen, the phosphorus and potassium are also readily absorbed. There's a wide crop application, and it includes sulfur. Very important that it includes sulfur. Compound complex. We use these words interchangeably just to say that it means that all three nutrients are combined each granule of the fertilizer. Homogeneous means an even spread. So when we apply the fertilizer, at times we might scatter the fertilizer too far, and some of the nitrogen, some of the phosphorus, some of the potassium might not be at the root zone for the plant to take that up. So you're actually wasting money. In our 1515, where all nutrients are held in a compound granule, we find that you, the farmer, get value for your money because the plants are able to utilize all the nutrients at once because they're at the root zone. It has a high solubility, water solubility. It's very important for a fertilizer to have high solubility. The quicker the nutrients can be dissolved or absorbed in the soil, the quicker mineralization can take place, the quicker the plants can uptake and grow. Quick, easy absorption speaks to that as well. The 2-week jump that the farmer got, or the 2-week jump that you will get from using this product, is based on the quick absorption of that nutrient into the soil and uptake by the plant. That's what gives the fertilizer this quick jump ahead of the competition. At this time, I'll field or host any questions that you may have regarding this product.
Okay, Dale, there's a question on YouTube. Hartsmouth Anderson. Earlier in your presentation, you boasted super fast solubility in water. Since farmers rely on rainfall, wouldn't moderate release formulation avail most of the nutrients for intended crop uptake?
I was low. But to answer that, we in this ELIXIR 1515 brand, I mentioned that it's highly soluble, but also in a very stable form. So yes, mild or moderate moisture is needed for the nutrients to be broken down. But also, because it is in a stable form, the plants are now able to pull that nutrients. As I mentioned, the nitrogen is ammonical nitrogen, and there's also nitrate form of nitrogen. So that in itself offers a timely release of the nutrients.
Lloyd Williams on YouTube is asking, when you are doing the cost-benefit analysis, is this for 1 acre of land?
Yes, that was 1 acre of land. That was 1 acre.
Could you remind me, in which crops can the 1515 fertilizer be used?
As I mentioned before, it has a very wide application. So we are speaking about vegetable crops, traditional, the brassicas, cabbage, lettuce, pak choy. We can go in solanaceous crops, tomatoes, hot peppers, potatoes, and potatoes both Irish and sweet. Crops, fruiting vegetable crops as well. As I mentioned, tomatoes, sweet peppers, hot peppers. And it's good because it provides that quick initial jump that the plants need to grow and get up there.
And at what stage can the 1515 fertilizer be used in the crop?
Well, ideally, the 1515 is positioned as a starter fertilizer, one that can carry the plants to the first stage of production. So right up from vegetative to the onset of flowering.
Okay. And remind me again, what difference does the sulfur make in the fertilizer?
But the sulfur makes all the difference. The sulfur complements the nitrogen because it helps in the photosynthetic process. And once we have the plant being able to maximize on photosynthesis, then we can have that speed up in terms of growth, development, and production.
Okay, another question. How does the ELIXIR blends differ from the other granular fertilizers currently on the market?
The ELIXIR blend is in a ballpark by itself. It being a compound fertilizer, that's the first difference. It does not have the dust and other additives of the other fertilizer. It has a very high solubility. The forms in which the nutrients are readily absorbed. This is all the difference in terms of application and the whole positioning of the product.
On YouTube, there's a follow-up to Mr. Anderson's question. While you did good, could you also compare results using other fertilizers on the market?
Actually, in the demo that was spoken about with Mr. Parker, that was a comparison. It was between the 1515 and the farmer was using 14 on the 142814 on the control. So he was using, so that in itself was a competition. So the farmer was using 142014 on the control, and Parker used the 1515 on the treated. And that was the result that he got, that you saw for yourself as well. 2 weeks reaping in advance, uniform harvest. Yes.
I only have one more question. He said, thanks. In your opinion, what is the best quality or benefit of using the ELIXIR 1515 fertilizer?
Oh, it's so difficult to name just one. But to speak of the physical attributes of a fertilizer speaks to the quality of the product. As mentioned before, you as a farmer want to find a fertilizer that is dust-free, a fertilizer that does not have additives or fillers, so to speak. The ELIXIR Zorka 1515 is one such fertilizer. It is dust-free, does not have any additives. It has the benefit of being a compound fertilizer where all the nutrients are found in each granule. So to highlight that NPK plus sulfur is in one dege granule. So all the nutrients are found in each granule. So that in itself makes it a winning combination.
There's another question from Lloyd Williams on YouTube.
Okay.
Do we need additional fertilization at flowering? ELIXIR is only for initial stage. What fertilizer do you recommend at the flowering stage?
Right, yeah, that's a good question. Definitely. Like any other crop or any other living being, once you're entering the production stage, you need additional nutrients. So yes, the 15-15 ELIXIR is a very good fertilizer to start off with. But once the plant enters flowering and production, we need to up the level of potassium in that. So traditionally, we'd go with a 15-5-35 blend. But based on your soil type, which you should always try to get a soil test done, that rate might be able to be lowered based on what your soil readings are.
That's it for the questions.
That's it for the questions. All right. Well, just to keep you updated with the activities of AgChem, we'll be having a virtual Zoom training session on onion crop care guide that will be on Tuesday, November the 17th, and it will be starting at 1 p.m. Jamaica time and 2 p.m. East Coast time. Presenter will be my counterpart, Mr. John R. Johnson, who is a product development agronomist for the Southeast region. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope the information was beneficial to you all. Thanks.